Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast network.
You are listening to the FinFans podcast, where we discuss everything Miami Dolphins. It's the off season, and we're looking forward to a fresh new start under different management in 2026. We hope you'll join us and enjoy the show. And it's another FinFans podcast. With me today is Matt Mariani. How are you, Matt?
Hey, what's up, FinFans? What's up, Michael? How you doing?
Good. And Chris Ragone.
What's going on, everybody? Happy to be here.
How are you? You doing good?
Doing great, Mike. I think it's 7 weeks from today, week 1, either 7 or 8, Keep saying it every week, but now, it's been a long off season for all of us. I know we're ready to get some regular season, even the preseason. We talked a little bit about it. Should be fun to watch just because of all the battles that are going on in camp and all this stuff. So I'll definitely be locked in a little bit more than previous years in the preseason.
This has been a very quiet offseason.
Yeah.
No drama. You haven't heard anything from anyone, So, other than typical interviews, that type of stuff. But, nobody's getting in trouble. Nobody's wanting to trade, all that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, we got a few things to talk about today. Our reaction to a couple of articles and basically lists, and where the Dolphins present themselves in those lists. And Travis Wingfield had an interview with cornerback Chris Johnson, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I thought some of the things he said were really interesting. So, let's start off with Bill Barnwell and his ESPN list of Dolphins he believes could fetch a first-round pick. And he named 3 players, and those 3 players are Patrick Paul, Kenneth Grant, and Caden Proctor. What are your thoughts on that, Chris?
I think that's pretty accurate. Those 3 guys, they have to be building blocks, especially the 2 linemen. Kenneth Grant, I think we're all kind of, we want to see that jump, but I'm not going to lie to you. I said it last week, a couple of weeks ago too. It's like I'm more excited to see Jordan Phillips and Zeke Biggers. They showed a little bit more, but Kenneth Grant, this is a huge year for him.
It is. What are your thoughts, Matt?
There are 2 surprises for me there. Maybe 3. Patrick Paul. Patrick Paul, hearing that people consider him something worth giving up a first rounder for is good news, because he was a second round pick just a couple of years ago. So that means he's outplayed his draft position. That's what you like to see. So that's a pleasant surprise. I was most shocked when I first heard those names about Kenneth Grant. I haven't seen anything from Kenneth Grant that, if I was a GM, would make me want to give up a first-round pick for him, especially since many considered him a reach last year when he got drafted where he did. So that's surprising, because Barnwell, I got a lot of respect for Barnwell. I think he knows his stuff. To hear him say that Kenneth Grant's still worth the first-round pick is a bit of a shock to me. And then not hearing Devon Achane's name. I know he just got the new deal. That I think Devon Achane's worth the first-round pick still these days. He's a game breaker.
Yeah.
I feel like he's one of the best players in the league at his position at this point. And to see, there's been other running backs that have gotten traded for first rounders. I know there's like Saquon Barkley was probably the most recent, and people don't hold Achane in the same regard as Saquon, but that's just because Saquon was drafted as a top 5 pick and Achane was a 3rd round pick. But Achane very much outplayed his draft position and has really shown that he's a special player. So interesting. I would probably say Caden Proctor, borderline Patrick Paul, and Devon Achane would be my choices of who would be worth first-round picks on this team.
I kind of agree with what you said. I'm not quite sure Kenneth Grant is there yet. That's not to say he won't be or can't be. But right now, today, based on what we've seen, I wouldn't give up a first-round pick for him.
We might be trying to get rid of him for a lot less at the end of this season if it doesn't pan out, which is interesting. But I don't know. I mean, when we drafted Kenneth Grant last year, there was some people that were saying that they liked him more than the guy, Mason Graham, that the Browns drafted, his running mate. They were saying that maybe Graham was feeding off of Grant more and this, that, and the third. I think Graham had a better rookie season, but it's going to be interesting to see how this season plays out. I mean, it's a different defensive scheme, so maybe that'll work to Kenneth Grant's advantage. But, like I said, this is definitely a huge year for him because this brass isn't going to wait around forever for him to develop, especially being a guy that they didn't pick themselves, so.
All right, so Mike Marsala of Dolphins Wire lists 7 Dolphins on the roster bubble heading into training camp. And these are the 7 that he names. Taj Washington, tight end Ben Sims, Cameron Good, the edge rusher, Robert Beal Jr., the edge rusher, Matthew Butler, lineman, defensive lineman, linebacker Willie Gay Jr., and cornerback Marco Wilson. Matt, is there anybody there you'd keep?
I didn't hear any names that I would should feel that they are considered safe or basically should feel confident that they're going to have a roster spot week 1. I mean, Taj Washington is the only one who's named that I thought, all right, maybe because of the lack of experience and depth on the wide receiver chart that he might have a little leg up on the rest of them, but he hasn't done anything to
small.
Yeah, and he's going into year 3 now as a 7th round pick. That's the odds are against him. I mean, Malik Washington was a 6th round pick in the same draft, and Malik's shown a lot more than Taj has. So Taj has had his opportunities to prove himself, and he just hasn't really done much of anything.
Is this his 2nd or 3rd year?
He's going into year 3. So that's hard territory for a 7th round pick. Most 7th round picks don't last 2 years. So, and then the rest of the guys, I'm they're all undrafted rookies, borderline free agent pickups. These are the guys that bounce from team to team, practice squads. And those 7 guys alone, I mean, there's really not anyone on this roster who should feel confident about having a spot on the team week 1, especially behind the starters.
Malik Willis is pretty safe.
He's safe. We know who's safe and who's not, but none of those names, I think, should have any type of confidence that they belong on an NFL roster at this point. Cameron Good's shown a few moments of decent play, especially on special teams.
I was just going to ask you about him because he really hasn't had much of an opportunity.
No. Yeah, and he probably should have worked his way further up the depth chart than he has, but I guess it is what it is. Right now he's behind Chop, he's behind Ojabo, he's probably in the same area. He's behind Uche, he's behind Trey Moore, who's a new rookie this year. He's right in the mix with, a bunch of guys who are going to be competing, and they're going to have good preseason games. At least Cameron Good, the one thing he's got going for him is he's a proven special teams player, so that might keep him on the roster. Okay. That always helps. So we'll see. Whenever I think of Cameron Good, I think of him blowing out his leg in that game against the Bills on the punt return.
Yeah.
After we just lost Chubb and Phillips the 2 weeks prior. Yeah.
Yep. That's the first thing I think of when I hear his name. So.
What about Willie Gay Jr.?
I like him. I like him personally, but he's got to beat out. Now he's got Jordan Brooks is locked in to that middle linebacker position. Tyrell Dotson is ahead of him as basically a starter. I mean, I have a feeling Tyrell Dotson and Jacob Rodriguez are going to be competing all preseason for that second starter position in the middle linebacker spot. And we also have another first-round pick Kyle Lewis. So you got to think we have all these young linebackers on the team. Willie Gay's got his work cut out for him. You got to think when it comes down to roster choices, they're going to lean towards the young guys as opposed to the old heads. And I like Willie. I think Willie brings something to the team. He brings some veteran leadership. He brings some energy. He brings some sideline to sideline play, but he just ain't as good as he used to be. So he's got his work cut out for him too.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, there's nobody on that list. I mean, I've been wanting to see something out of Taj Washington since we drafted him, because I remember him being Caleb Williams is pretty much number one over there in USC. And it just hasn't happened. You know, the guy can't stay healthy. And from what I heard, I think he got banged up already this season. So it's like, you know, as a smaller guy, if you can't stay healthy, it's just not, you know, the NFL is brutal, you know.
It is.
And it sucks because some guys never really get their opportunity because they can't stay on the field. I mean, aside from that, Robert Beal and I think you just talked about him, Cameron Good, are two guys that I think may make the team. Matthew Butler, I also kind of like at that D tackle, but at the same time, you know, with the guys I just named, Zeke Biggers and Jordan Phillips, competing behind Kenneth Grant and Zach Sealer, like how many defensive tackles are you going to keep? So it's going to be interesting.
I would guess you're keeping 4.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe stash 1 or 2 on the practice squad, but I'm sure other teams will be interested in Butler if he ends up getting designated to the practice squad.
Yep, I agree. Travis Wingfield did an interview with our first-round cornerback, Chris Johnson. And here's what Chris had to say. I definitely enjoy the process, especially over the results. I kind of love just being over-prepared for football. It's more than a game. When you really dive into it, it's a lot more than just playing. A lot of things that are tendencies. Some guys do this, some guys do that. You kind of got to know your guys, real personalities. What kind of guy is he? Being able to study that and come up with the answers, and then it's almost like you got a cheat sheet on game day, and being able to see like 9 or 10 of my answers are correct, I know I'm going to be able to have a good day. So basically what he's saying is a lot of it is film study. And if he can pick up the tells he thinks he can pick up, you know, by studying the film, then it gives him a little bit of an advantage. And I like the fact that he's coming across with that type of an attitude. He doesn't seem like a kid that's afraid to work.
Yep. I mean, I love that attitude. I love that mentality. I think that's part of the reason why they took him in the first round. You know, we got big expectations for him, especially being the pick that we traded Waddle for. You know, he has to be, a pillar in this rebuild. You know, and I said this before the draft, that this draft was very, very important for Hafley and Sullivan and, you know, this new regime, because, you know, they gutted the roster. So when you gut the roster, you trade guys like Waddle for a first-round pick, you absolutely have to hit. And, you know, it'd be nice if Chris Johnson turned into a Pro Bowl, All-Pro type guy, but even if he can be, you know, just the top 10 corner in the league, I think that's a win for us. So, you know, he's got big expectations. He's coming from a small school where he didn't face a lot of top-tier talent as far as wide receivers. So, you know, with our gauntlet of a schedule, he's definitely going to get battle-tested this year. And I hope that, you know, even if he loses on a couple of plays, he, you know, rebounds the next drive and maybe gets a pick or something like that. You know, that I think that's what we want to see from him.
Yep. Just want to see some steady play. Mm-hmm. That's what you're looking for this year. Just be steady. Don't get embarrassed. Be where you're supposed to be on the field. Follow through on your assignments. And if you get beat, you get beat. That's going to be a learning process, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But just live up to your end of it. Do what you're supposed to do, and let it play out how it plays out.
Yep.
All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take a step back for just a couple minutes, and we'll be right back.
What are your thoughts on that, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, it's just good to hear. He sounds like a coach, even though he's a rookie. It's nice that he's going in with this mindset of, going for film, doing the right things. It sounds like everything that you've heard from this rookie class, it feels like character mattered a lot to Sullivan and Halfley from the guys they drafted. I'm seeing a lot of good personality traits coming out of a lot of these guys, and some surprising maturity from rookies that we're not quite used to. So this falls in line with everything that I've seen from the rookie class so far and their personalities, and it's exciting to see. Hopefully we're building this is the start of something nice, the start of a winning culture, something that this franchise has been severely lacking for quite a long time. So good to hear. Let's hope he pans out.
What though is.
Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I was gonna say, what's interesting though. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I mean, I know we brought in the Jalen Ramseys and the Tyreek Hill, but Chris Greer looked for a lot of guys like that too, and it's like. There were guys who, even Kenneth, you look at the last couple of years, Kenneth Grant, Chop Robinson, they weren't like guys that we were going to have to worry about being in the clubs or, being cancers on the team. Like, they were football guys who brought the right mentality. But I think, at this point, I like hearing what I'm hearing out of these guys, but I also want to see these guys come to play. Like now for me, like them coming in and having a good mentality to me is not good enough. Like you need to have the good mentality, but you also need to produce on the football field. So I'm hoping these guys aren't just able to, like I said a little bit about Halfley, is talk the talk. We want to see them walk too. So hopefully, it translates to the field is what I'm saying,
That's been the knock on Miami teams for 25 years now. Yep. Soft. Yep. It's all anyone ever says.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So CBS Sports wrote an article. Okay, yeah, this was written by Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports. And what he's ranking is the 5 best and worst quarterback situations for 2026. And he says the best is the 49ers, which surprised me a little bit, but I guess he's talking about the whole room.
I would argue with that.
Yeah, I would too. But let's look at the 32nd, or the worst quarterback room, and that would be Cleveland.
I could see that. That's who's their starter going in? Shedeur
or Massage Watson.
Yeah. Oh, I always forget about Watson. Yeah,
those two are battling for that starting position right now. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that's the worst room. I mean, you got those two guys. Dylan Gabriel was just horrible from when. I mean, we watched him play against us last year. I mean, that guy was just afraid to throw anywhere. I mean, they used to say that about Tua. I mean, this guy would not throw for more than 5 yards. It was crazy to watch him in his couple starts. I mean, I think he's done. I don't think that he's an NFL quarterback, but I don't know. I kind of like Shedeur. I think
he had some moments.
Yeah, he had some moments, and as a rookie who didn't really get too much first round reps and go all throughout the preseason and even into the season, I think he might surprise some people this year. I mean, they had a really good draft, too. They picked up a couple receivers. They had Harold Fannin Jr., the tight end. I mean, they're loaded with weapons. It's crazy to say that for the Browns, but the Browns should be – I mean, if they can get some decent quarterback play, I think that's a team who can surprise some people this year.
Yep. And the 31st, they have the Jets.
Yeah, I mean –
Geno Smith.
Yeah, they'd be 32nd to me for sure.
You gotta. Geno is what Geno is, man. He's gonna get you a ton of yards. He's gonna lose you a bunch of games. He's gonna throw a ton of turnovers. He's kind of the best quarterback to have right now for what the Jets want. The Jets are all in on 2027. Mm-hmm. They have a ton of first round draft picks. So Geno being in, he's gonna keep. He's going to keep Breece Hall happy. He's going to keep Garrett Wilson happy because they're going to get touches, they're going to get yards, and then they're going to lose games. So he's kind of the perfect quarterback for them right now to get them to the draft and get them that number 1 pick that they're hoping for.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're following the Ravens, or not the Ravens, the Raiders.
The Raiders, yeah.
Last year,
Gino just got the Raiders number 1 pick, so why not New York?
Yeah.
All right, just above the Jets are the Cardinals.
Interesting situation there with Jacoby Brissett holding out because he wants more money. I mean, he was solid last year, but he wasn't no world beater. Aside from that, Gardner Minshew's taking the first team reps right now with them who they signed. I mean, Gardner's a gamer, but just like Matt kind of said about Geno, it's the same thing. It's like he's one of those gunslingers who's going to throw you picks, he's going to lose you games, but he had some fight. And then behind him, you got former Miami Hurricanes quarterback Carson Beck, which is going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But I would agree that they're a bottom 3, even if they brought back Jacoby Brissett and they figured out the contract situation. I think they're still a bottom 3 as far as their quarterback room. Because I'll be honest. I mean, even though Beck wore my college's uniform, I was not a fan of him last year. Definitely left some plays on the field, including in that championship end of the game, has a chance to go up the field and win the game, and he throws a pick. So, maybe he develops into like a nice backup or, middle tier to low tier starting quarterback, but I don't have too much faith in him, to be real.
From a style perspective, he reminds me, Minshew I'm talking about, he reminds me of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Similar quarterbacks.
Just not as talented.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see if anyone emerges. I love Arizona's weapons. I think they're fantastic. Like,
for sure.
Harrison, Wilson, McBride, and now they added
Jeremiah Love.
The running back from Notre Dame. Like, it should be a good situation for a quarterback. So we'll see if anybody steps up and really takes off in Arizona. But they play in a brutal division and they have a brutal schedule. So
yeah.
We have a pretty brutal schedule, too.
We do. Yeah, we do. Yep, we do.
Not pleased with it.
No.
But what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You got to go out there and play regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And 29th is us, Miami.
That, I don't know. I think a big piece of that, obviously, is going to be how Malik transitions into a starter. Mm-hmm. Tennessee, I think he got kind of a rough go around. I think he got drafted, and then the year after he got drafted, the coach got fired, new regime comes in, they draft Will Levis. They kind of swaying towards Levis. I don't think he really got a fair start. And then after, he gets traded to the Packers, and, he's pretty much just traded to be a backup. So, I think that's huge. I think Quinn Ewers showed a little bit last year that he can game. I don't know if I would say that he's a starter, but I definitely think he can be a solid backup. So, I don't know. I don't know if I would really put us in that bottom tier, but I would probably put us closer to like the bottom of the mid tier, but that's what they say. So, we're hoping Malik, blossoms into the guy we've been waiting for 20-something years, huh, Mike?
It's what, 1999? Or 2000, actually. Mourinho retired in 99.
Almost 30 years, Mike.
Yep. Yep. Been a long time.
It's been a long time.
And just above us is Atlanta.
That's an interesting choice. It's an interesting choice. They have upside. They have more upside than us, I think, right now. I think we belong. I think we belong in that bottom 5. I don't see anything from Quinn Ewers that says he's going to be an impactful NFL player. And Malik Willis, you guys know where I stand on him. I don't think anybody wants Malik Willis to start for them besides the Jets. The Jets were the only other team that put in a bid for him, as far as we know. I think we overrate Malik Willis a little bit more than the rest of the league does. And like I said, he's got upside. He's been around. He has a chance to prove everybody wrong. I don't envy his receiving core. He's behind the 8 ball. Out of all the quarterback rooms that we've named, Malik Willis has the worst wide receivers of the bunch. So he's in the worst situation of the bunch. Maybe
are they the worst or are they unknown?
They're the worst. They're the worst. Right now, if you look at our depth chart, if none of the rookies emerge, and you can't count on a rookie emerging, okay? So you can't count on Chris Bell or Caleb Douglas having this amazing preseason saying, all right, we got a surefire number 1 starter to throw out on week 1. Right now, our starting wide receivers are Jalen Tolbert and Tutu Atwell, 2 guys who have never been able to break out on other teams, and they've had plenty of opportunities. These guys have played lots of snaps, lots of games in good offenses with good quarterbacks, and they've never done anything. I mean, they play with quarterbacks that sling it, Dak Prescott and Matthew Stafford, and they've never done anything and now they're our number 1 and number 2 wide receivers. I feel bad for Malik Willis that this is his opportunity to prove himself, and this is what he has to work with.
That's how you prove yourself.
Man,
you
I don't know
raise the
about
talent
that.
of those around you.
Yeah, and if he's throwing bombs and these guys are dropping it, or he's making these amazing plays and throwing it and guys are dropping it, I mean, that's something to at least be, moving forward, something positive. But if he comes out and just falls on his face, that's what sucks about trading away Waddle. That's why I had mixed feelings about it, because it's like, okay, you brought in this guy to see if he can be that dude who only has 6 career starts, but then you just completely dismantle the roster, and especially his receiving core, which, because I'm not gonna lie to you, like, as soon as we signed Malik Willis, I'm like, oh shit, like, okay, like, Waddle's gonna be, now we're really gonna see what Waddle has, with a quarterback who's got a cannon like Willis. And it kind of sucks. That's why I talked about Chris Johnson earlier. I'm really hoping that pans out, because if it doesn't, it's just like, man, like, we just gave Waddle away, especially to another AFC team. But yeah, it really is going to be interesting. I think we're going to be throwing to the tight ends a lot more. Malik Willis, I think, is going to be checking down a lot to Devon Achane this year again. Just like Achane got a lot of catches out of the backfield last year. But I think, a couple of these guys will emerge. I mean, Matt talked about Tutu a little bit. I mean, Tutu last year didn't do much because they brought in Devontae Adams. But I think the prior 2 years, I mean, he wasn't hitting home runs, catching big balls every game, but he showed something. So, I mean, I don't know. Jalen Tolbert kind of in that situation as well, with Dallas wanted to be their number 2, and then they brought in George Pickens last year. So, I mean, I don't see any of these guys emerging as a number 1, but it's kind of like, if you look at, which is ironic, the Green Bay wide receiver corps. They don't really have, I mean, Christian Watson is a very talented guy, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy and put it all together. I mean, he's a big guy who's fast, he's got decent hands, but if you look around, I mean, Jaden Reed is decent. I mean, Romeo Dobbs was decent. I mean, I'd definitely take those guys over who we have now, but I'm saying, like, they're kind of using that same philosophy where maybe they don't have a true number 1, but they have a bunch of number 2s and number 3s that, Malik's going to try to spread the ball around and get everybody involved and see who emerges out of those guys, But one last thing I'll say, too, about this, Caleb Douglas, as our 3rd round pick, as somebody that they really took a shot on, he has to emerge, or else that's going to be something we're looking back at, just like we've had with the past regime. Like, damn, we passed up on this guy and that guy, because there was some talented receivers left on the board with that 3rd round pick when we took Caleb Douglas, and I'm just like, man, I really hope that this doesn't come back to bite us in the ass.
Caleb Douglas's career is starting out very scarily, much like Leonte Carruz. Was that his name?
Oh my gosh.
Leonte Carruz.
And the poor guy, Caleb Douglas didn't do anything to deserve that except get drafted in the 3rd round. We don't know if he's going to be good or not. Like, I feel bad already comparing him to Leonte Carruz, but
why'd you do it?
I don't, because it just feels like it. It feels like Leonte Carruz all over.
Yeah, I mean,
again.
I don't think Matt's far off by making that comparison because
we traded up for Carew.
Yeah, we traded up for Carew, and I'm sure at that time people were like, "Yeah, I'll take Carew." I mean,
everyone thought he was overdrafted. Nobody knew who he was. Like
for sure. And it's just Douglas's issues with the drops, like that's something that can be corrected sometimes, but sometimes it can't. That's just who the guy is. So I don't know. I mean, I know he got banged up already too. So I saw a video of him training with what is his name, Jordan Hicks, or the guy that Tua used to train with that trains a bunch of guys.
It's Hicks. I'm not sure what his first name is.
But, hopefully all that stuff pans out because, he's a guy that absolutely needs to emerge in this wide receiving core. I'm pretty sure he's one of our biggest receivers too. So, we're definitely going to be relying on him. I've already said this in the past, though. The guy I'm most excited to see is Chris Bell. I think watching what Chris Bell did to my Hurricanes last year, I'm like, this guy can be something. The Canes had one of the best defenses in the league, and he absolutely torched us last year as a part of that Louisville team. So, and that wasn't his only game. He had a couple other good games too. It's just, the torn ACL kind of hurts. A lot of people say he probably would have cracked the first round had he not torn his ACL. So, I know I'm not expecting to see him within the first 6 games, maybe even the first half of the year. But I think once he comes around, that's somebody that's going to be able to make some plays and emerge as the top guy in this receiving corps.
All right, guys, we're going to break for a few moments, and we'll be right back.
I think a lot of people feel that way,
as
far as Bell's concerned.
And Kevin Coleman Jr., too, I think people are sleeping on a little bit. He's a guy who doesn't really get mentioned a lot because he played at 4 different colleges in 4 years. But I think, that's an advantage for him. I think he's going to pick up the playbook quick. I think, we have a guy in Malik Washington who can kind of be that slot guy. But, I think Kevin Coleman can emerge as one of Malik's favorite targets. I'm excited for him as well. And it's crazy because the guy I'm least excited about is the guy we drafted the highest. And I hope I'm wrong. I've been wrong before, especially when I think about my takes on Aaron Brewer when we first signed him. I was pissed. I'm like, damn, we're trying to fortify this offensive line in front of Tua, and we pick up a center who is rated as, the lowest rated pass blocking center in the league. But hopefully this is another situation like that, and I'll happily admit that I was wrong about it, but I just don't, Caleb Douglas just doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy.
I wasn't
inside.
crazy about the Brewer signing either because of his size.
Yeah, exactly.
And, in some ways it showed itself, but in other ways his size is an asset to him. So, it just depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
But, I'm willing to say I was wrong. I have no problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
I defended Brewer, and it was the only thing I've ever been right about.
You defend everybody. Anyway.
I got one for you about an article that I read. I don't think it was last week, but it was 2 weeks ago. Bleacher Report has us rated the 32nd team in their most recent power rankings.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
I think it's right.
Check back with me in October.
Just looking at the roster, I've been staring at the roster this whole podcast. I've had the depth chart in front of me. It's bad. It's really bad. There's not a lot to get excited about here. Our secondary is terrifying.
When you combine our pass rush situation and our secondary, it's kind of scary.
So we just said Malik Willis probably has the worst group of wide receivers going into the league last year. I think the offense is in better shape than the defense. Looking at the roster,
I agree.
It's terrifying. The defense is in rough shape, and the offense isn't much far ahead. I do think we're 32nd. The only way I think we're worse than the Jets. I do. I think the Jets are ahead of us right now in their rebuild.
They are from a skill player perspective, but I think our offensive line would compete well with theirs.
Yeah, yep. I think Arizona is ahead of us talent-wise, but like I said, they're in a harder division than us, and they might have a harder schedule than us, so they might end a little lower than us. But I'm finding reasons to be optimistic quite low for this season.
Yeah.
Speaking of offensive lines, did you see that Savaianaya was he had the worst grade of any guard since PFF started keeping stats?
I didn't see that, but I could have told you that. Savaianaya has got us
the worst grade out of every guard that's played since 2000.
He's got us longing for the days of Liam Eichenberg.
Nowhere to go but up.
Yeah. You know what, though, man? I will say this. I think probably more on the offensive side than the defensive side. I think they might surprise us. I mean, I'm expecting this offensive line to take a jump with Proctor moving into the guard. I mean, I think a big piece of it is going to be if Austin Jackson can stay healthy at that right tackle. But I think sliding Jonah back to that right side will help him out a little bit. And I think this offensive line should be better than they were last year, which means the running game is going to be better. And, with these two tight ends, if Dulcich can stay healthy, I think the offense might surprise us a little bit if all the things go right. The defense I'm still worried about. Like you said, the pass rush is, I don't know where the hell that's going to come from. And then that secondary, because, you got a guy in Juju Brents who I think we're expecting to, compete for that starting job, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Then you look at the safety group, and it's just like,
yeah.
Even the one guy who we have penciled in as the starter, the name's slipping my mind right now from last year, the rookie from last year.
Dante Trader?
Yeah, Dante Trader, who, his people have been raving about this offseason. From watching his interviews compared to last year, he definitely looked like he put on some weight. So, but yeah, the defense, I'm super excited to watch the tackles and the inside linebackers, but the pass rush and the defensive backs, it's going to be rough, especially if we're having our first round cornerback playing a lot of nickel with guys like Storm Duck and Juju Brents and guys like that on the outside. So,
Would you be surprised if we had the number 1 pick next year?
No, absolutely
not. So there you go. So
when you combine that with, the schedule, I think, has a big part of that too.
I agree.
Think the schedule is so brutal that, I think we're going to be lucky to win 4 or 5 games this year.
Yep, I agree. We might get one from the Jets. We might get a week 1 from the Raiders.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing very many other wins on the schedule besides
I'm
those.
sure we'll have a show where we review the whole schedule, and I'm going to definitely be a little less optimistic than I have been the last couple of years. Last year, I think I had us going 12-5 or some crazy shit like that. But yeah, that's all I got.
So I wanted to ask you, who do you think will be the rookie of the year?
Well, it better be the guy that we took 11th overall, Mike, and I'll tell you that, because with who we passed on, it better 100% better be that guy that we took 11th overall.
I don't know about that. I could see a season where Caden Proctor's just fine, and Jacob Rodriguez really just impresses us. I think Jacob Rodriguez is he's going to be in a very good opportunity to excel. So I could see that happening.
Don't forget about Chris Johnson either.
Yeah, yep. I think he's got a much tougher assignment this year than Jacob Rodriguez does.
I agree. But we'll see.
Yeah, yep.
Offensive player of the year.
I think Devon Achane would be the easy answer. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to go Malik Willis. I think he's going to surprise us. I think he's going to make some plays that shows us that he can be this guy going forward. And, he's still young enough to where, if he really hits the ground running, we got a good 3-4 years with him. So I'm hoping he ends up being that franchise guy. And, we can just be worried about taking a Jeremiah Smith or a fantastic receiver like that with one of the top picks, and, just keep building, just keep building.
I'm going to say Patrick Paul is going to be just a rock-solid left tackle this year. He's going to play all 17 games, and he's going to establish himself as one of the best left tackles in the league this year.
I like that. What about you, Mike? Who you got?
What do I got? I'm going to say Willis. Why not?
All right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That typically goes to the quarterback if he plays well. And we'll see. On defense, who you got?
I'll let you go first, Matt.
Jordan Brooks. He's the star of the defense. He's gonna be busy this year.
He could be in Cleveland.
He's going to be busy. He's going to have 1 million tackles, and I feel bad for him. He's going to be tired at the end of these games.
I'm sure he wasn't last year, too. Guy busts his ass. He does. You could see it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to go Jacob Rodriguez for a lot of things that Matt just said, as to why he could be our rookie of the year. But I think he's going to surpass Dotson, and then I think that him and Brooks, they're going to play well off each other. I think that Rodriguez is going to continue to force turnovers with that peanut punch, and then him being a former quarterback, I think he's going to surprise us and make a few interceptions.
So you're making him a starter?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think he's going to win the starting job, too.
Yeah. Maybe not to start off the season, but I think as the season plays out, he's going to become probably our best defensive player. Aside from, Jordan Brooks, but, yeah.
All right. Well, guys, I think that's going to do it. Thanks for listening, everybody. And till next week, fins up.
Fins up.
All right, fins up.
And that's the end of another show. I want to thank the Believe Network for allowing us to join them this year, and the Dolphins Talk Network, who we've been a part of for many years. I want to thank both of these outfits. They're exceptional people, and we're proud and honored just to be a part of it. Until next time, take care.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.